Hey, it's the Chief Bunny with Board Games and RPGs, and this is a special little segment I didn't think I was going to do. So I've been playing in person with my mom, Tales from the Loop. We've been playing it cooperatively using the Mythic Game Master emulator, version 1E. There's a new version out there, and it's been working great. So good that I actually had Mom come on the set here, and we just did a little explanation of what we're doing and how well it's working. A link to that's down in the description. I'm putting a little photo up of the screen shot of the thumbnail. Now that video was seen by RPG Elite. That's a YouTube channel where the creator is Servant of Shiloh. And he asked if he could interview my mom and I. That hasn't come out on his channel yet. But in that interview, he strongly suggested that we record our sessions, my mom and I. Now, my concern was I wasn't looking to just have more content. What Mom and I are doing as we play, quite honestly, has been magical. And that's what he said we needed to film and capture. Mom's 81, all right, I'm 54, and we're just having a ball playing kids. I'm 10-year-old Crown, she's 14-year-old Phoenix. We live in Boulder City, which is right near Hoover Dam. There is little mysteries like Stranger Things going on, and we're using the Mythic emulator to just figure out what's going on cooperatively, and it has been magical. But enough. I'm going to drop in now. Before each of our in-person sessions, we always recap to each other what we did in the last episode. So you're going to see that. I've thrown in some edits here just to keep things moving along. But you're going to see basically how we play. And I'm going to break it in. We usually play for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. This is broken into 3 different 20-ish minute sections. And I think I'm going to continue filming these because part of what Servant of Shiloh talked about was actually preserving and saving these sessions that we're doing together, because they quite honestly have just been so awesome. And I'm thrilled to be able to share that with you. Mom's a little bit nervous knowing the camera's on as we start. That drifts away as the gameplay starts to rock and roll.
There was bad weather on the road. They had to stop the car because there was a fawn on the road, and that's part of our symbolism. The fawn bolts with no injuries after Phoenix touches her. And so we said that would maybe symbolize new freedom rising strongly.
I remember we couldn't quite figure out what was even going on with that.
Yeah, and that it also symbolized youth and gentleness and gentle freedom rising. It could be a guiding principle.
Perfect.
Okay.
I see that. You have an asterisk on it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Phoenix vocalizes this to Ciro and Crown, all of the latter. They arrive at Ciro's. They drive into his shop because he's a car mechanic.
Right. He's a mechanic, and then he also works on all kinds of weird and strange tech.
And it's a junkyard too.
Right.
So mix of all of that.
No, it's perfect. It's mechanical.
Yeah. And so they bring out the drone and they talk to Ciro about it. They mention the lettering on there. And you want to talk about that?
Right. Yeah, it was, so the drone we recovered from the lake had Russian or Cyrillic writing on it, is what we thought. And he ends up confirming that. Because we pointed out, maybe I got ahead of myself there. So Ciro knows the logo immediately and says he's getting goosebumps. And then we ask, or Phoenix asks Russian, and he says yes. And then you can go to the kids part.
The kids tell him it is the drone that took the sailboat in the race, and the kids catch him up on everything. He thinks it's a business sabotage of the sailboat. The lettering is Russian, but he thinks it's a fake to divide the animals, and he calls the Americans and Russians animals.
So he's opposed to kind of both.
Yes.
And I can't remember, so Cyril
hates all government. He knows or has had involvement with in the past.
Got it. Because he's got an affinity for Phoenix, your character.
He does, But I think
Like
that
a good one, like a uncle niece
Yeah.
kind of thing.
yeah, but I think right now he's in a different
Okay,
place in his head.
got it. And I couldn't even. Oh, Joey was the machine that we saved prior, which
Yes.
will come up. Okay.
The robot.
Yes.
Joy's the robot. He says, I know everything about what has happened. And the drone is not Russian. It just looks like it.
Got it. And that's when things started to get weird for us because we've got multiple mysteries going on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Ciro's like a key part of the mystery. All right.
He's not just a junkyard guy.
Right. Who, just to circle back on the short end, early on, we'd gone there, and I find this little robot, Joey, and Ciro's trying to shotgun it, and we have to run and escape, and he didn't like my character Crown much anyway, although he kind of liked you, so it was weird that it comes back. full
Well,
circle.
and Cyril wanted to shotgun it because it knocked him out.
Right.
It gave him electric
Right,
shock.
because you're knocking on the door, we see he's passed out, and at some point in time, Joey, this robot, stunned him or shocked him or something. Okay, does this make Ciro some high-tech peace activist? So we had a question on that. We don't know. And then you have, in parentheses, Ciro, is he focused on friends? We got a hard no. Okay, so we're using the Mythic emulator. We got a hard no that he's not focused on friends. And then the kids sense he is worried about them. So,
A lot of paradoxes going on.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Cyril says, you kids are messing with something very dangerous. Cyril comes off like a blue star parent, and a lot of folks won't know what a blue star parent
So you want to
is.
explain that?
Yeah, blue star parent is if you have kids that are in the military and they're in harm's way, you're a blue star parent. You turn into a gold star parent if they die. And they used to, starting, I don't know, maybe they did in World War I, but World War II, for every kid you have in the military or active service, you would have a star, and then that flag would be hung in the window usually, so people driving by could see, oh, blue star mom has 3 kids. And then if one of them turned gold, you would know they died. All right, so we think Cyril comes off like a blue star parent. He's worried about the kids, but it is a fight worth dying for.
And I don't
Okay?
know what this is.
DARPA.
Yeah.
DARPA is the, I forget what the acronym means, but remember DARPA was, we had 2 mysteries going on. We had someone was trying to like blow up the dam, Hoover Dam,
Yeah.
and DARPA was based up there, which is like they test things like wild stuff all the time. DARPA will test it. And then that's the Hoover power threat.
Yeah.
So
Somebody's trying to knock out the
DARPA's up there, that's part of the book even, and then the Hoover power threat. So it felt like we had mysteries that were starting to coalesce. Yeah, because our threads, we had this drone, and now we know it's the Russian drone, which maybe is a fake and a fake. It's not a Russian drone, it's just supposed to look that way. Ciro's junkyard was one of the threads, so those are now connected. We have a glowing golf ball, not connected as far as we know. One of the areas we will go hang out at is Baskin Robbins. I have that just as a thread because we go back there. We had bank trouble with my family, or my dad. Trouble with the Gang of Six. We moved away from that thread. Not that those kids aren't out there, but they weren't a big part of it. And then we have the Hoover Dam threat, which you referenced, the sailboat drone incident, which is now tied back into Ciro. And then we had the Gundren letter, which we actually got back to his place. But the letter warned that he was under pressure to do some shady business. So we didn't quite understand. All right, good.
So we've been working on this for about a half a year.
Yes,
So
at
it's hard to
least.
summarize it.
It is, and we don't need to do any more. I will do a summary kind of that catches folks up just so they're not 100% lost. We're using the Mythic emulator to ask questions, and of course, Tales from the Loop. So we were still with Ciro when we left, with the idea that this blue star parent, so we're still at his junkyard. We know he's done this double thing that it is Russian, but that's fake. and that he doesn't like the government, Russian or American, but he likes
He's
the people.
anti-government, but he likes
Right.
people. Yeah.
Seems like almost like a spy that's seen too much almost or something. I don't know. You know, I mean,
I just thought, as Phoenix, that he was just a junkyard guy
Right.
who
Yes.
liked electronics too.
Exactly.
Mhm.
all right. So I guess the question is, knowing that when we get back, we're going to talk to Joey. He didn't turn us in. We know that. So there's this bounty out for this robot. We've been keeping it secret. We call it Joey because it's almost like a little kangaroo or something. He didn't turn us in even though he knew we had it, even though we tried to shotgun it, even though we darn near tried to kill him. So, and we believe that he was protecting your character, in particular Phoenix. So, jumping in where we were, this kind of blew our minds last episode that Ciro knows a lot. It doesn't seem to me like Ciro would just vomit out all the details to us, though.
No,
Right.
we told him a lot, but he didn't tell us much.
Right. Other than this weird stuff like, yeah, that's Russian, but it's fake. And we were like, what? Because, of course, in the 80s, everybody's nervous about the Russians. Yeah. All right. So, we had some questions, but what do we want to? So, Ciro got us there. There was a big rainstorm. He's got the drone. Where would we go from here? I mean, the weather's bad, so I don't think we'd go to our treehouse. We could always go back to my place, my parents, my dad's place where Joey is. But do we want to?
How are we going to get back there with all that mud and the road and everything? We
Right.
won't be able to do that.
But I'm sure our parents would be wondering where we're at too.
Yeah. Maybe Ciro's going to have to get in his truck and
Okay,
head us.
got it. Do we before? So I like that. Let's start with he wants to get us back to our homes. He's saying your parents are probably worried. But any questions before we get into his truck? Because he came to get the drone and get it back to his place. Do we? I don't know. I've got some weird feeling like he would make tea or hot cocoa or something. I don't know. Does that seem like something he would do? I felt like there might be a sit down at a.
Yeah, I
at a
think he would
messed up
do
table.
that
Okay.
while he's thinking of what he's going to do with us.
Okay. Sure.
And while he's thinking about all the new information that he's got.
Got it. Which is almost foreboding.
Uh-huh.
I like it. How about he's got an old teapot, like a kettle that you just put on the stove and he turns up the water or turns up the heat and he's waiting for that and he says he'll make us some hot cocoa.
And the kids are okay with it because they think, what's this Russian
Yeah.
thing anyway? We're
Right.
not such a, that's old folks think about that.
Got it. Let's do a question to Mythic because I feel like at the same time maybe we see that Ciro's got the weight of the world on his shoulders almost, which would mean he's thinking of stuff. But I don't know that. What do you think it could be that he's just happy-go-lucky. So we'll go to Mythic for yes or no questions. Do you think, he's making the hot cocoa. I'm kind of looking for what his body posture would be. And I wanted to start with just a simple question of, does it look like the weight of the world is on him? Do you think that's just 50-50, or do you think it's more likely or less likely that, what I'm thinking is he's got wheels turning within his head that we don't even notice as kids necessarily.
It's more likely.
Okay, so you think it's more likely. So let's just go with likely is a 75% chance. Do you want to go with that or even more?
75.
Okay, so likely that as he's making this, or he's warming up the water, getting the cocoa ready, the mugs, it's this like, picture what a mechanic shop would be like anyway. So it's just
Junkyard shop.
Yeah, junkyard, a circular table that's got stuff all over it, but he's getting mugs out, probably cleaning. But does it look like he's got the weight of the world? Do you want to roll or me?
You were.
Okay. 81, so that's no. So wow, 75% chance or
Okay.
less that almost like he's thinking, do I turn the kids in? Well, that's a no. So this flips it then, tells me if he doesn't have the weight of the world on him, I think he's already made his mind up that he's kind of in our corner.
Okay.
And if you're making hot cocoa and getting the water going, it's simply more like that caretaker kind of mode.
Maybe, but it just could be
Yeah.
a stall for time so he could
Sure.
think it out, too.
Got it. But there's no weight of the world. It's not like he's thinking of turning us in, because that's what I was
he
thinking.
wouldn't. I didn't
Okay.
think that.
Got it. So, do you have any questions as he's getting stuff ready? Anything you want to ask Ciro? Your character's 14, a little older. Crown is 10. I'm going to think of like a real simplified question. I have an idea, but do you have anything you want to ask Ciro?
Not at this point. I'm still aware that he's building a relationship
Okay.
with Crown.
Got it. I think I simply ask, like in that boyish 10-year-old, how do you know so much about Russian letters that you know it's Russian, but it's fake? So, because that would, I think, perplex 10-year-old Crown is, so that's Russian. How do you know it's fake Russian? It's Russian, but it's fake? So the deal would be, we're going to go to the back because that's bizarre. And I'm not sure what his answer to this would be. So we're going to go action subject. I'll jot this down. And we will get action subject is going to give 62. So 62 is inspect. Okay. So I'm asking him this bizarre question that has some odd depth to it. And 11 is emotions. Inspect emotions. Now we can roll twice more on this. So this is, I'm asking Cyril this question and we're getting inspect emotions. Is that enough to give you an idea what Cyril's saying, or do you want me to roll again? Get a little more. Okay, so we'll do it again. 58 is betray. So we're going to have to meld these together. Betray what? And 24 is tension. How do you betray tension? Well, betray tension, I think, would almost be like making a joke. Don't you think? Like when, even gallows humor sometimes, does that sound like how you would betray tension? Because tension, when they say you could cut it like a knife, but then someone burps or something and it makes everybody laugh. You know what I'm saying? That's like a betrayal of tension.
Okay.
So I think betray tension is going to be some kind of odd humor. So we're going to get odd humor out of that. But then what is inspect emotions?
But I think even serving them the hot cocoa is,
So, but I've asked this specific question of, it's Russian, but how do you
yeah.
know it's fake Russian? And his
That's
answer
right.
is going to be something of odd humor, but also of inspect emotions. So what do you think? If we've got odd humor, what do you think? How do you inspect emotions? Or how do you betray that in a conversation? Inspect emotions. So it could be, and maybe he then tries to cover those emotions with humor.
Yes.
Ooh, I like
And
that.
then, but he could have a little nervous twitch
Okay.
too.
So what if he starts to almost get too serious and then catches himself? Maybe you even, Phoenix sees some twitching and then he cuts into some humor. So I'm thinking, let me do Ciro. So if the question from the 10-year-old is, how do you know it's Russian, but it's fake Russian? Oh, I got it. I think he looks at, so he's making this hot cocoa and he looks at Crown and says, I've seen things that would make you never sleep with the light off. Which is, what? And then,
Phoenix is going.
Yeah, I think,
"Whoa,
but
buddy."
what would he do? I was thinking, I like the bird thing, but
Nah, he would burp with Phoenix there and stuff. I don't think so.
okay, well, how would he do odd humor then? Because I think he realizes he scared the kids. Let me give you this. When we were kids, I could do the little chicken thing where you make a fart noise. What if he sees, oh my God, I just went too serious. And all of a sudden, I picture him almost with like a white wife beater and it's kind of dirty, but what if he suddenly just, I mean, that's odd. Is that too odd?
It's
too odd? Okay. All right. I'm just trying to see because, like he
So
said.
let him do it. We're laughing.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's like had kids. I don't think he's ever had kids, which is why you got that uncle-niece
We
relationship
don't
with
even
him
know
and
if he's
Phoenix.
married. He was
I
married.
doubt it. I think
doubt it
I feel
too.
like this is some ex-CIA spook
It's a guy who loves his junk.
who's into tech. Right. Junkyard.
Junkyard.
Yes. So I like this. So he says, I've seen things that would make you crown. You would never sleep with the lights off. And,
Yeah.
and then immediately we're all like, what the heck?
Phoenix wouldn't even get
Yeah.
scared.
And I'm like, what? So
Who
there's
is
this,
he?
there's
Who is
this terrified thing. And then all of a sudden I think he realizes and thinks, whoop, went a little far with the kids. And just immediately, brrr. That's it. That is it. That is odd. There's no way we knew that was going to happen.
No.
Okay. So let me write this down because
Yeah, I'm not
seen
right.
things.
I
Things.
should be right.
No, that's great. That would
I'm
make
enjoying myself too
Yeah,
much to write.
make you- never sleep with the lights off. Okay. Especially for a 10-year-old. Way too serious.
Well,
Yeah.
And a 14-year-old
Yeah, and a
girl's not
14-year-old,
too cool
yeah.
on that either.
And then I'm going to put kids terrified. And then Ciro realizes he went too far. Too far with his honesty. And I picture a little bit overweight, that belly, probably a beard, not very well kept, but all of a sudden just does the chicken wing fart noise. Got it. And I think that would work. I think kids especially would be like, that would make them laugh. All right. And then he changes the topic.
Offer some cocoa.
Yes, I think the cocoa's ready. He's definitely got marshmallows. There's just no way he doesn't have marshmallows. Come
That's
on.
a guy thing?
Yeah, well, I think he would have them. I'm picturing like a cupboard, and it's like the little tiny
Grody-
marshmallows. Yeah,
Grody
well, I think he's got them in a bag there, but they're kind of knotted up. He opens it up and drops a couple of those in. You got to have marshmallows on a cocoa. And so the kids are, I think.
They're sealed in a can because the mice
Okay, you
would
like
get it
that?
otherwise.
Okay, all right, you like the can. I would imagine there's no washing of the hands, though. It's just like throw
No,
a couple
yeah,
in.
I'm starting to get sick as a
You
mama.
shouldn't get
I'm
sick,
just getting
yeah.
out
The
of
kids are,
character.
I think, Crown's clearly cool. My mom only lets me have 4. He's like just piled them up on top, and he's like, I love the marshmallows with the
Okay,
cocoa. It's
all
the only
right.
way now.
Good.
All right, marshmallows with cocoa.
That's a good thing.
Got it.